Have you ever wanted to start a side hustle or even a full-scale business, but they all seem too far out of reach? Maybe you've even seen some YouTube videos telling you what businesses or side hustles to start: lawn care, a vending machine business, or even teaching a course. But you think to yourself, well, I don't have the equipment for lawn care, I don't have the capital to start up a vending machine business, and I don't have any knowledge to sell an online course. Well, that's personally why I think reselling is the perfect side hustle or business to start. And in today's video, I'm going to break down my 5 top takeaways I have learned from reselling in the past 3.5 years. Whether you are just starting out or you've been reselling for a long time, these takeaways will help you grow your reselling business. But first, let's start with a quick story. Roughly 3.5 years ago, I crashed my dirt bike and broke my collarbone and my back. I was out of work and I was looking for a way to make some additional money. I discovered Gary Vee's Trash Talk series on YouTube. If you've never seen it, it's basically Gary Vee going out to yard sales and garage sales and finding plush and Disney stuff and sports memorabilia to resell online and teaching you how to do it. I was completely hooked, so I convinced my wife to drive me to a local yard sale, and I told her we were looking for Disney stuff. When we got there, she actually found a Disney chip clip and we bought it. We paid 25 cents. We brought it home and we laid it on a sheet of white paper, took some photos, and listed it on eBay. This chip clip actually sold the next day for $30 plus shipping. I was completely hooked at this point. Fast forward 3.5 years later, and I am still doing eBay and I am still completely hooked on reselling. I have had to learn a bunch of lessons along the way, and I want to share these lessons with you today so that you can avoid the common pitfalls that most resellers have to go through. Number one, go slow. This is probably the number one thing that kills most resellers before they even really get started. If you've been reselling for any period of time, you probably have seen this. The guy that comes to the thrift store and fills his shopping cart full of a bunch of garbage that will never sell. He thinks he hit the mother lode and he's just piling all this stuff inside of his cart, and he leaves there thinking he's going to make thousands of dollars. However, you as the experienced reseller looks at that and says that guy will not be able to sell most of that stuff. I was him. I watched a few YouTube videos and I thought that you had to go out and find Disney and plush and coffee mugs and all the common things that a lot of YouTube resellers tell you to go find. So I went out to my local thrift store and I filled a shopping cart full of a bunch of stuff that I thought I was going to be able to resell. I even thought to myself as I was filling the shopping cart, wow, this is so easy. There's so much great stuff out here, and I can't wait to get home and make all this money. But the thing is that really good inventory, like the stuff people actually will pay for on eBay, is actually really hard to find. And you actually need to have a bunch of knowledge in order to find the stuff that will actually sell on the platform. That's why I highly recommend going slow. So if you're just starting out, don't go out to the thrift store and buy everything. Buy one or two things and go through the entire process of bringing that item home, testing it, cleaning it, taking photographs of it, listing the item, putting the item away in storage, and hopefully selling the item and sending the item out. However, even if you don't sell those first couple items, you've now learned how to take the photos, you've now learned how to create listings, and you now know that these items aren't in demand. So the next time you go to the thrift store or a yard sale, you now know to avoid those items because those ones aren't selling for you. However, if you bring home a bunch of stuff, like a whole shopping cart full of stuff, you're going to get overwhelmed, especially in the beginning. You're not going to know where to start. You're going to struggle with taking that many photos and creating the listings. And even if you did pick up a bunch of great stuff, you might not have the systems in place in order to fulfill all those orders, to ship all those items, to package all those items within the time frame that you need to do so. So I highly recommend starting out super slow, grab a few items, and test the waters. Now, if you want to shortcut this, I highly recommend checking out this video here, where I show you how to find valuable items inside thrift stores using your own personal knowledge. This system will work for anyone as long as you have some knowledge within some given niche. I continue to go slow today. Like I said, it's taken me 3.5 years to go from a part-time reseller to a full-time reseller. This isn't because I couldn't go out and buy a bunch of stuff and try to get this stuff listed. I wanted to do it right. It takes time to grow this business. And I still continue to do this today. I don't buy more inventory than I can handle. I don't bring home a bunch of stuff to sit in a pile on the floor and tie up my capital and tie up space. I want to only bring home the best items that I can process and get listed within a day or two. A lot of us, especially when you're just starting out, we get addicted to the hunt and the buying, but we don't get addicted to the listing and the actual selling. You want to focus on running an actual business rather than just going out to thrift stores and yard sales and shopping and creating a collection or a death pile. Number 2, focus on sell-through rate. Sell-through rate is king. And if you don't know what sell-through rate is, I highly recommend checking out this video here where I break down what sell-through rate is and how to find the sell-through rate on various items. But if you want to run a profitable reselling business, you need to find items people actually want to buy. This is so critical to my business that I look up the sell-through rate on every item I buy, and I make sure that this item actually has demand before I buy it. This has allowed me to skip over picking up trash to bring home and only bringing home the good things and only listing and selling the stuff people actually want to pay money for. Number 3, remove the emotion. If this is the first time you're stepping into business or a customer service role, you may find yourself struggling with removing emotion from handling problems that will arise. If you sell enough items on eBay, you're going to have returns, you're going to lose packages, you're going to have customers send you nasty messages, and you're even going to have the pleasure of meeting a few scammers along the way. So for me, removing emotions means selling items that I have no emotional connection to. Yes, this means don't sell grandpa's favorite watch collection on eBay because you're going to end up with a problem and you're going to be too emotionally invested in these items to actually deal with the problem for the customer. The other thing I like to do is I take a minute. So anytime that I get a return request or I have someone send me a message wanting a return or telling me that there's a problem with the item, or even that their item hasn't arrived on time, whatever the problem is, I take a minute. So this allows me to remove the emotion from it. My initial reaction a lot of times can be like, oh great, this guy's trying to scam me. Oh great, another return. And that has me in the wrong mindset to deal with the customer. So when I get those messages, I'll read them and then I wait until my initial emotional reaction has passed. And then I reach out to the customer and I help the customer solve the actual problem. Most people on eBay are not scammers. Most people on eBay are good people. And most times problems that customers point out are genuine problems. The item might be lost in the mail. The item might have arrived broken. The item might have a problem with it that you didn't even know about. So I like to go into these interactions with the customer, giving the customer the benefit of the doubt. The customer might be right, so I want to treat the customer how I would want to be treated. So for me, that means removing this emotion, taking a minute to gain my composure, and then handling whatever the problem is for the customer. Number 4, treat it like a business. Reselling is a business, so you best treat it like one. For me, this means having a separate business bank account, keeping good, accurate books, and focusing on long-term revenue over the short daily gains and losses. If you are based anywhere in the United States, you have to pay taxes on any amount of money that you make. So I highly recommend speak to a CPA early on in your process and get a system set up so that you pay the taxes correctly and that you keep your books correctly. This will save you a lot of time in the long run so that at the end of the year, you're not sitting there saying, oh man, I wish I had saved a bunch of receipts. I wish I had tracked mileage. I wish I had done this. If you go and talk to your CPA early on when you're starting this business, they will be able to help you set up the systems so that you can keep track of everything you need to keep track of, pay your taxes on time so you don't get penalized, and keep good, accurate books so you actually know what your profits and losses are. Now, treating it like a business to me also means that I focus on long-term revenue versus daily ups and downs. Because this is a business, you will experience some ups and downs. Some days you will sell thousands of dollars of inventory, other days you won't sell anything. And this can scare you. So instead, you have to have a way to look at the overall growth of your business, the overall revenue of your business, and understand that there will be ups and downs so you don't react emotionally to these ups and downs. You take a step back and look at the overall business that you've built. If you want to learn how to track this and look at it over time, I highly recommend checking out this video here where I break down those steps. Number 5, do not stop. Reselling done correctly is not a get-rich-quick kind of thing. Now, there's plenty of content creators out there saying, oh, just buy a bunch of fake inventory, a bunch of fake shoes, and sell them, and you'll make thousands of dollars, and you'll get rich quick, and you'll scam people. I'm not talking about that. If you want to run an actual reselling business correctly and not scam customers and not sell fake products, it will take time to build this business. And the only difference between a beginner reseller and a professional reseller is the time that they've put in. The longer you stick with it, the more knowledge you'll gain and the easier it will become. If you give up because you sold something and someone returned it and you lost a little bit of money, you will never reach the professional reseller where when they get a return, it doesn't matter because they're still selling so much that those little returns don't make a difference in their overall sales. It took me over 3 years to grow my business from a part-time revenue source into a full-time job. It takes time to grow this business. It takes a lot of knowledge to be good at this business. And in order to gain that knowledge, you have to gain it over time and you have to gain it with reps. You have to continue to keep going out and finding the inventory and listing the inventory and learning what processes and which items sell best for you. There's a quote by Bill Gates that says, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 10 years. If you've enjoyed this video, I think you're gonna love this one, so go ahead and give it a click.